Okay, so 2 weeks now until the UTMB, and I thought it'd be useful just to go through what shoes I'm going to be using and what shoes I've been using through all of my training. Okay, well, we'll start off with these. These are Brooks Cascadia, recent model. They come from Profeet.co.uk, Profeet in Fulham. This is what I'll be using for the race. For me, they're a really good shoe. They're very flexible in the front. That toe box is not very rigid. As your feet get bigger, there's a lot of room for them to grow in there. The sole is flexible, but there's enough grip on there. They've improved since the earlier models, so if it does get a bit muddy, you've got good grip. But they work really well on that kind of rocky trail that you get for the UTMB as well. I've done about 600 kilometres in these ones so far. Maybe ideally I would have done a bit less. But, you know, they're fitting really well, and I did my whole recce of the UTMB in them and they were perfect. See, I put the runner's lock laces on here just to keep my foot in place. The only weakness really you can see in there is that they are going a bit in the heel, but you know, they're not giving me any blisters. They've obviously got Profeet insoles in there, so they're customised to my feet. Second up, let's have a look at these ones. These are On Running Cloud Venture. I have absolutely loved using these. I was given a pair on a trail running trip to Switzerland a couple of years ago and I liked it so much I got another pair. They are just really, really comfy. They have this sole here is great for bouncing along the trails. I'm not sure that grip is particularly good if you are dealing with mud, but I found on the South Downs and around the South Downs they worked really well. I'm not going to use them on the longer race. I've run up to 50k in them. For me, this is a bit too solid at the front. These ones aren't actually fitted with my custom insoles on the inside, but they're a really lovely shoe and I've used them for a lot of my training. In terms of road shoes, this is a Brooks Adrenaline GTS. This is a very popular neutral shoe. I've used these for a long time. I've run marathons in them, etc. I do a lot of, although these ones are quite muddy at the moment, I do a lot of kind of higher volume runs on tarmac in these. You know, they've got really good support. I've never had an issue with them, and I just go from one pair to the next on a regular basis. Having said that, this is a Brooks Defiance. It's a slightly different shoe from the other one. But I've really enjoyed it and I enjoy mixing it up as well. I tend to use these on a kind of shorter tarmac run, you know, maybe up to an hour or something like that, sometimes off-road as well. As you can tell, most of my running's been off-road recently. I got these ones off eBay. The previous Brooks Adrenaline were from Profeet as well. These are my previous Brooks Cascadia. These also came from Profeet. They've got Profeet insoles in, but what happened with these, you might be able to see, is they basically tore in both shoes here after only about 600 kilometres, which I didn't think was particularly good. But I took them along to Dan and Charlotte at Rerun, and these guys are amazing, and Dan just kind of taped this up. I think this is rock tape, and he's somehow glued it in there, and so far I've got another 150 kilometres out of these shoes, and it doesn't look like they're going to rip again. So you know, he's done an amazing job there. Didn't charge me anything for it, so you know, I highly recommend the guys at Rerun. And these shoes, you know, I might get. I mean, the soles are in brilliant shape. I'm going to take these along to the UTMB as my backup shoe. You know, if my feet start to get too big and I feel like I need to change, because these have actually done now a little bit more than the other shoe. They're a bit more worn in. They're obviously a bit more stretched as well. But you can see as well that there's a lot more flexibility, I think, in the toe than on the other shoes. So I'm going to be taking them along as well.